Welcome to the Invincible Innovation Show, the podcast for changemakers. Each week, I talk to the most fascinating entrepreneurs and innovation leaders about innovation, strategy, and design. Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about marketing future and the gig economy. Welcome to Invincible Innovation Live Show. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Mazor, Kario, product innovation and value creation expert, and I'll be your host. And I have a very special guest with me, Itamar. Hi, Itamar.
Hey, hi
Great to see
Adi.
you.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Itamar Shafir is the CEO at Umbrella. Itamar is the CEO of Umbrella, a platform powering thousands of small marketing agencies. And we're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, and you're so invited to join the discussion and ask questions. And now we can start. So we're talking about marketing, and it's such a huge thing, and it's growing all the time. It seems like marketing is something that is always like you need to be up to date. But tell us, what is the main challenges that people face when they do marketing today?
So, wow, that's a very encompassing question, right? Because you
Right.
have so many types of businesses: B2B, B2C, e-commerce, offline, small business, large businesses. I think most businesses have realized that digital marketing is kind of the triumph in marketing in the past few years, and COVID really gave it a large boost. Uh, the agencies we power are mainly small agencies. They work with small businesses, and small businesses, I think, were even less prepared to be totally digital. And the main challenges, I think, in marketing, if I have to state across the board, I think are fundamentals. I think many times businesses don't pinpoint the niche they're going after, the customers they need to target, what's the right target approach, and how to build a brand that is trusted by them. Like those are kind of fundamentals, marketing 101,
Yeah.
but you can find the same mistakes if it's a small business somewhere and it's a large business trying to build a new revenue stream, same issues.
I think that it seems that this domain is you have so many channels and you have so many options just to place your money in, and you don't really know what is good for you. You could spend money from now on and not finish all the channels, but how do you know what is really right for your business, for your customers, for what your potential customers? It's really hard to handle, as I see it.
100%. I think it all begins with once you understand who you want to target, then you can build a funnel. A lot of small businesses don't have. When I say small businesses could reach 100, 200 people, they don't have the understanding of what a funnel is. Meaning, okay, let's do advertising. Let's go do Google Ads. Okay, you'll send the clicks where your site that does not convert anything, and then what? It's a lead, and who's going to call them? Do you have a sales force? If you don't have a sales force, who's going to pick up the phone? So they don't really think it through, and if somebody just explained that to them, it would make a lot of sense. Like they'll get it immediately and say, "Oh, yeah, obviously, I'm on the field. I'm in the field. I can't answer the phone. I need to get a sales rep or change the way I'm trying to secure businesses."
Yeah, and I think that most people, especially small businesses, they really enjoy doing what they're doing, and they don't want to be a full-time marketing person. And sometimes this is what is needed from them, maybe in some of the stages of the life cycle of their business, in order to really be successful.
100%. I think they don't have the know-how, and even if they did, they really don't have the time. Like if I had to handle all my company's marketing, and I know marketing very well, I have other things to do. I can't do this as well. And every business owner is the same. They wear the fulfillment hat, the administration hat, the operation hat, the marketing hat. And for e-commerce business, it's a bit different because usually e-commerce players are already digitally geared. Like they're marketers many times to begin with, unless it's a company that is transitioning to e-com. But for offline businesses, 100% they need somebody to help them. Always.
Yeah. And how do you think the last 2 years has impacted these businesses and marketing as a whole?
Wow, it was meaningful. So offline marketing really suffered. We saw that. Well, not exactly. TV actually went down and then spiked because everybody were watching, and
Yeah.
especially digital TV. everything in online marketing spiked. Everybody who are doing Google advertising, Facebook advertising, any type of online promotion, native ads, whatever, they all went well. But a lot of small businesses didn't react fast enough, just shut down. In the States, I don't know if it's the hundreds of thousands or in the millions, had to close doors. Small businesses, they don't really have a lot of breathing room. They have maybe revenue to carry them on 3, 4, 5, 6 months into the future in case nobody's is coming to the store, nobody's working with the business. And mainly, if you're talking about Main Street retail, it's dead. Like, it was pretty much going away because of large retail and e-com.
Yeah.
COVID killed them completely, and now they're kind of bouncing back. Service-based businesses, it's easier. They kind of transition to Zoom. Okay, I'm your attorney.
Yeah.
We don't have to do a one-on-one. Let's just do Zoom. I'm your
Yeah.
CPA. Let's just do Zoom. But retail really suffered.
Yeah. And you think that they now understand the power of digital marketing, and now they're like feeling that it's as good as it was before doing marketing. I know from people who just heard your name and you came from friends, or is it like they understand it better right now?
I think so. I think they do, many of them. Obviously, a lot of businesses are referral based, and you're right, it's word of mouth, and you get recommendations, and that's the way the business works. Especially with home services, for example, you had a good contractor doing your drywall, setting up whatever in your bathroom, and those people have a very good referral system. Usually, if they do a good job, the good job kind of speaks for itself. But as they grow and they start having subcontractors and their own technicians, and the team grows, now they need to feed them all the time. So they find themselves on the cusp of, okay, now I need to generate leads. I don't know how to do that. And like, I never did it. I was in referrals. And I think COVID really forced a lot of businesses, even if they didn't immediately implement, at least learn about it. Kind of get exposed to what's happening in digital marketing. And it made the situation better.
Do you think that the big businesses are doing much better in marketing, or they just have the revenues in order to do more mistakes, and the small ones need to be more, slick and fast and do it better?
I think both. I think you're right in both. I think first off, obviously businesses that already have a marketing manager, it means there is an expert persona responsible for that specific department in the business. Many small businesses don't have that. So that's in of itself, it's already a step up, right?
Yeah.
Then you also have the budget. But like you said, then you also have the situation because organizations become larger, a lot of people, different ideas, different ego fights, launching things because somebody wants to earn a few more stars, and not because it's the right thing to do. And then you get into just dead campaigns. But all in all, it's easier for small businesses. It's for bigger businesses, excuse me.
Yeah. I think that bigger businesses have first their brand, so it helps them to do marketing. That's first. If they're good in their brand, that's first. But I think that sometimes you have a marketing manager who doesn't really understand the details of, doing digital, different channels, what is the advantage of different channels. And sometimes it seems that they're bringing in people who really understand marketing, but them themselves are not really, hands on it. And then you see the difference.
I agree. I think, but when we're saying small business and we're saying large businesses. So, a small business, I think a lot of people think it's 1 to 10 people, and then a large business is Microsoft or Amazon. But there is a lot of in between, right? There are a lot of businesses that have 50 employees, 250 employees already have a marketing budget, 500 employees are doing TV ads. And you're right, sometimes they're lacking a smart persona. There is the technicalities of marketing and there is the strategy of marketing. So many times they have an in-house person who is a good strategist overall. They understand their product, they understand the customer base, and then they utilize other smart people like marketing consultants. So for example, just on the technical side, like you said, okay, we now have a new thing. It's called TikTok. Is it relevant for us? How do we utilize it? Influencer
Yeah.
marketing on TikTok, would it work? No, because your audience is 50 plus. You know, oh, but I heard there are also 50 plus people on TikTok. Yes, but it won't work. But they don't know that because they're not
Yeah.
doing TikTok all the time. And the
Sure.
TikTok expert or the marketing expert, they do. So you're 100% right. It's like it's impossible. You get fragmentation in marketing nonstop. You need to bring in domain experts.
Yeah, and it seems that there is more and more channels all the time, and you need to really be up to date all the time. And when I think about it, like if you're a business, let's say it's not that small. You don't have 10 people, you have like 200 people, and you really need to understand what marketing means. And more than that, you need to be successful at it. And the technical part in digital marketing is doing all the difference, right? If you don't have a very good technical person doing all the campaign and sub campaigns, really utilizing the budget well, in many cases you just waste your money. And I think this is what most people think about marketing, that if it's not really done right, it's like it's wasting money, more or less.
100%. You have there are a lot of functions here, right? So you were just mentioning a good implementer, somebody who's actually spreading different ads, doing the A/B testing together with the copy and the creative that come up with the idea, or the agency, and they see what works better. They double down on that, invest, kind of grow, and then it never ends, right? 3 months into it,
Yeah.
the ad is already in attrition. You need a new ad, you need new
Yeah.
creative. It never ends. So it's technical. I think it's very much creative and it's very much domain knowledge. And I would say a lot of companies also are not doing the right kind of measurements. I don't think many companies know how to define good KPIs. And even when they do, especially when you have a CMO, the CMO wants to have success. It's kind of a problem inside an organization. The CMO is responsible to bringing in the new clients, but they're also building up their own in-house reputation. So they
Sure.
don't want to launch a campaign and then say it was a mistake. So there's always that situation.
Yeah.
And it's much easier when there is measurements, okay? Because they can stop at the beginning. They don't have to lose a lot of money and then feel ashamed and not changing the campaign. It could be very early on. And one of those measurements is, would they, for example, examine ROAS, return on ad spend? Would they examine ROI? And how would they? Would a salesperson go into an ROI of a CMO? Not
No.
really in
In
marketing, it's
most
in the
cases,
sales
no.
department,
It's in
right?
the sales. Yeah.
But if the marketing is eating into 85% of the sales of what the sales can extract from a customer, then maybe we should look at it. Or
Yeah.
let's say the sales commissions are 40% and going down, or 25% and going down. What's the ticket price, right? Maybe we need 3 back-end products to upsell to even be ROI positive. Sales and marketing have to work together.
Yeah.
And for me, as a digital marketer, I always say, okay, the CMO needs to take charge,
Oh,
not the head
both.
of sales. They need to
Both.
work together, but
Yeah.
somebody needs to come and say, marketers usually look holistically, right? They have a kind of a 360-degree view at things because that's marketing. It's branding, and it's also being the ability to generate actual clicks or leads or sales. Salespeople or head of sales have a less of a holistic view. They have a very direct view. Okay, I need to make sure that my reps have qualified leads to talk to. Who's responsible for the qualified leads? Marketing. Okay, I'm not responsible for that. I'm getting qualified leads. Now I need to make sure from this point on, I nail it. Right? I close.
Yeah.
A marketer even looks into sales and asks them, are the leads good? Is this working? So they're already taking charge over sales to a degree. I'm not talking politically, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody has their own place.
Yeah.
I'm talking, if you want to succeed as a CMO and you want the organization to kind of rise quickly, then obviously having your own measurement, but also kind of working very closely with sales and testing their own measurements all the time and even getting into their business with the head of sales, so to not step on anybody's
Yeah,
toes, because otherwise you could be running a losing campaign.
sure.
It's, sales is another part of your funnel.
Yeah, of course. I think that in some cases you see companies going into having like a revenue department. It's like marketing and sales working together. But in most cases, they are like two rivals. And one say, we brought you great leads and now you're not selling. And the other one say, the leads are not good enough. This is why we cannot sell, right?
Right.
And and it's hard time like
But it
solving
happens
it.
even in best revenue ops. It still happens. So okay, so you have revenue operations. They're kind of responsible to making those two departments work. But there is only one person who strategizes the entire campaign. It's the
Right.
CMO.
Yeah.
It starts like if he's not targeting the right people, that's it. The entire funnel is done. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how good the salespeople are.
Yeah,
It's
you're
gonna
right.
be either a lukewarm, ROI or not, or a good one. So, but it could be that's because I'm coming from marketing. I'm saying that,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
really I feel I bring. I feel that the statements that what I'm telling you is logical. It's a logical way to think. It's not just a
Yeah.
personal way to think about it.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. But as I see it, I think it makes sense that you cannot understand strategy if you don't understand the details. And in many cases, these measurements are they're very explicit and they're very focused. And in order to do the measurements, you need to know more technicalities, as I see it. And if you're just high level strategist, it's very hard for you to do both. That's what I'm saying. And it seems that in
100%.
digital marketing you need to go and know all the details, or most of the details, just in order to be successful. Because if not, as you said, the measurements are not good enough, and everything is measured all the time. The question is, what do you measure, and do you measure it well, right? And in most of the cases, it's not happening.
It's not happening also because of some weird measurement effect where people think it's deterministic. On the flip side, I'll give you an example from our own organization, something that happened a few months ago. We have a sales team, and our head of sales, who is awesome, by the way, is have decided that he's looking at the KPIs and he's saying, okay, this is our measurement for opportunities turning into sales. If we just increase the amount of opportunities, we'll have more sales. Logical.
Makes sense.
But it really depends how you transition a lead into an opportunity. We had a process that cooks a lead into an opportunity in a specific way. If you sidewind that process from a marketing perspective and kind of fast track it, the lead is not cooked when they come in and when they become an opportunity. So the ratio
Yeah,
changes. It will no
sure.
longer be 1 in 5. It will be 1 in 10 or 1 in 7. So for a marketer, that's obvious, right? If I change something in the narrative, the end result is going to be different.
Yeah.
For a salesperson, sometimes, no, the stats show that 1 out of 5 opportunities turn into a sale. That's it. That's my ecosystem. I don't decide the narrative.
Yeah,
I'm
because
not
they're not
responsible.
into the content, and creative is not in their side. It's like the responsibility of marketing in many cases.
Yeah, they don't. They're not in charge of the overall narrative of the brand or the campaign. They are in charge of their own personal narrative once the person is talking to them. So you're 100% right. You have to have all the measurements in place, the right KPIs, think about everything before, and work very well with the sales team. It's a bucket that it's a bucket that needs to win as well.
Yeah, of course. What do you see like the future of what we're talking about? I think that what we have right now is very sophisticated, different channels and systems and platforms you could use. Do you think like in the future it will be more of these, more platforms, or not?
How far into the future?
Like 3 years, I think it's like enough. More than that, it's like it's too much, I think.
So 3 years, I think we will have the onset of another platform. I think we will. I I'm taking a risk, but I also think AR, after being a big thing that never happened for a long time, is going to take off for offline businesses.
You
I
mean
think
because of
Snap,
Meta?
Come
Meta?
again?
Because of Meta, the Facebook Meta thing?
No, actually, Meta is not is more putting more emphasis on VR than AR. Snapchat that is leading the race there. But you have also, I'm supporting a startup in this domain called Stops, and you have a lot of startups in this ecosystem working on how to layer interesting data and also marketing data on top of reality. I think that's going to be a real thing. And if we don't have another epidemic, which I really
You're planning something, Itamar.
no, but
That's
it's
not.
kind of you always get troubles in threes. It's not it never ends.
It
And
depends how you count them.
you're
I
right.
think
We're already at 100 or so. It
yeah,
really depends
yeah,
when.
yeah,
But I think so. I think AR. I think there will be the rise of there already is. TikTok, I think, is becoming a very powerful force, and that's pretty much it. And if we take a few years more into the future, I think you'll see a lot of the low end marketing jobs being replaced by AI.
yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. I think that you already have that in it, maybe it's not that big, but you see the easiest things like what you do in A/B testing could be done with calculations. What you do with enhancing your campaigns could be done with calculations of AI and models and all of that. And all the data retrieval, the hard work of doing the raw data collection could be done that way. But strategy is something that is not there yet. So the big picture is not there yet, but there could be a platform that would gather all the data from all the channels and decide there.
Right. The big picture is not there. I don't think it can be there anytime soon on the strategy side, because just for an AI to even understand, try to understand the intricacies of a conversation about customers, we're not there. But sub-creative, so for example, we already have very good AI copy systems, like excellent.
Right.
You pour, a paragraph, they give you a full article that is written very well. Like 2 years ago, and now it's amazing. 2 years ago it wasn't well, now it's amazing. And like you said, AI that is easily can look at 50, 60 ads and not just look at the A/B testing. Okay, this is doing 10% conversion, this is not, but looking at 50 other parameters and making a decision quicker. So, low end planning and data retrieval, data set analysis, those jobs are, I think, going to be more and more in risk as we see AI rising.
Yeah, although marketing analyst is something that we would need more because we have much more complex data collected, and somebody needs to analyze it and understand what are the implications for the strategy. So it's not enough just to show the data and all the insights you get from it. Somebody needs to decide what is the decision point here and what do we do with it.
But here we're getting into semantics. What is a marketing analyst? But is a marketing analyst somebody that is looking at a lot of data and gives the options to the strategist? Or is the marketing analyst a person who is not only deriving the insights from the data, but also deciding what action to take? And if it's the person who needs to decide what action to take, then I agree with you. You also need a liaison between data and insights. Machines don't do it too well right now. But yeah, putting aside the semantics, I hope you understand which jobs I meant and which less.
Yeah, of course. I don't think that the data analyst or marketing analyst would do the decision, but they need to understand the insights and what is based on, because sometimes you get the data and it looks really clear, and you don't understand what is the source and how did they get to this insight in the system. In order to do that, you need to really understand the data. That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we wanted to talk about the gig economy. So I guess it really grew through these 2 years. And how do you see that changing marketing in the future?
So I think marketing is already very gig economy based right now. Huge rise in utilization of outsource. Obviously, outsource agencies were always outsourced marketers, but it changed from, now you can go on Upworks or Fiverr or a lot of very dedicated sites. And even for bigger organizations, it's very common to go on these sites and find, somebody to do a voiceover, somebody to do take a specific set of data and do data entry, somebody to craft a campaign. So you have more and more experts in those systems as well that kind of do a 1 hour gig or, a 4 hour consultation. So the gig economy, I think, is actually transitioning into what I always hope will be is a partnership between what used to be an employee and now is an independent worker and the business. There is no longer, so many jobs, even expert jobs, are now outsourced that you can no longer say, okay, yeah, freelancers are just implementers. They when I need a site or when I need a banner, I'll go to a freelancer. Okay, maybe a few years ago. But now, no. If I need somebody, for example, I needed somebody to give me a crash course on native ads to decide if we want to go after it. I search for people on Upworks and they cost a lot. They don't cost like, $5 in a faraway land. That's you also have those jobs, but you also have like people that are extremely good, have like super talented, have years of experience, and you can just hire a few hours of their time, and it can completely give you a different perspective. Obviously, afterwards you can also hire them as implementers or take charge of the strategy, but you don't have to. And I think that made a huge change in how fast, especially small businesses, have access to excellent talent for a budget.
Yeah. And I think that one more thing that I think, in general, before we called it even the gig economy, in the economy in the US went from employees to part-time to someone who's from the outside. More and more people are working on their own. They call like self-independent workers, whatever. And now we have more and more of them. Sometimes it's connected to the fact they have like two jobs. They're doing both, but in many cases it's because they want the freedom to do different things and not being an employee of one specific employer or company. And I think that marketing, it makes sense to be one of these like options to be to work on your own, because you need to be so much like up to date and know everything. So you get the experience from different types of projects and different types of customers. While if you're working in the same place all the time, in the same company with the same team, maybe the same boss, you're not really growing as much as you could be when you're doing it all alone.
100%. You obviously get exposed to many more businesses, many more opportunities. I think, though, like you said before, a lot of people are making this transition from employee to independence because of something. Either they got pushed to it. So we get on our platform people who got fired and had to find their own way. And then you also have a lot of people that want a better lifestyle. That was it. Before COVID, by the way, I want to remind everybody had to go to the office. It was a 9 to 5, or in high tech, 9 to 7. Sometimes if you're a higher up, maybe more. And actually COVID changed that, kind of turned everybody to freelancers. But people didn't want that. They wanted more flexibility to eat lunch with their kids. They felt that their skill set is not respected their place of work, and they can actually make more money by themselves. They felt that they want to do more than one thing. Like you said, it's getting boring. I feel stuck. I can't do this anymore. 15 years, the same company, and so on and so forth. So it's all about freedom at the end of the day, being independent. It's all about freedom to bet on yourself, freedom to decide for your time, freedom to decide on your clients. And that's what's pushing a lot of people into independence. By the way, an interesting stat from the Direct Sales Association. Direct sales are basically MLM, but they have an association in the United States, it's more than $200 billion industry. And they have an association that is looking at stats. And obviously, a lot of these people are independent. They have decided to become their own businesses. Independents stay independent at least 10 years, while career people change jobs every 3 years. So it's something to think about.
Yeah. I have a guess why it is, and I think that's what you call like an independent business is actually tens of businesses or tens of projects, even more. It depends on what you're doing. You're always changing. So what we call a career change is something that you're doing, like if you want it or not, as a business owner. And what we're talking about marketing, if you don't change, you would not have a business. Like you if you're doing PPC as you did it like 2-3 years ago, you won't have business. You wouldn't be successful. So you need to be up to date all the time. So I think it demands so much change from you. So this like 10 years is actually always changing. You're always doing ups and downs and too much work, not enough work, whatever that you're doing. It's very it's much more interesting for sure. Challenging, interesting.
It's more interesting. It's more challenging, like you say, which is also interesting as long as you're not drowning, which sometimes happens. And I think in addition to that, you need to look at the stats and say, okay, why don't we see a relapse into employment? Why 10 years is a long span. You would think, okay, a lot of small businesses fail. True stat. Like, I'm not going to get into restaurants, versus attorneys that want to go, and open their own firm. But many small businesses, marketers, consultants try to make it. It's hard for them to find clients. They didn't really have their own marketing strategy in their mind before they got started.
Right.
And they fail. How come they don't go back to employment? They rather try again for a long period of time than go back, according to the stats at least. I think that's something, an additional thing to take notice of, because it means that even though they failed, they appreciate this more than going back to where they were. It's a challenge, but it's something that, every challenge comes with a potential for growth.
Yeah, that's I told you I agree with that, and sometimes the fact that you're too comfortable with it, sometimes people strive to be comfortable, right? This is what they want, and this is what I think that most people would tell you, that once they have, and it doesn't matter, this title, this amount of money, this car, whatever, then they'll have the opportunity to rest, to be stable, to be sure, to be safe, whatever. But I think that most people who decide to be self-employed, and I think that it's changing because now much more people are doing it. But in general, it's like these people who are, I want to be stable, but more than that, I want to challenge myself. I want to grow. I want to do more things. I don't want to do only one very like this small screw that you're changing within this very big machine. I want to impact my life, and it makes sense that people decide to do so. And the question is, who are these people who decide to do so? Maybe it's changing, but in the past they were a bit different, and people decide to look for the next employee-based position, I guess.
So you're 100% right. It's changing, and I think it's also a generational thing, right? I'm 42, almost 41. My parents worked in the same. Well, my dad was a lawyer. Is still alive, but he's retired. Was a lawyer his whole life. When he was 6, his friends used to call him Judge because he wanted to be a lawyer. And when I started my agency after the military. And I had it for 6 or 7 years before I decided to leave towards high tech. It was very product oriented. My dad was amazed, like he wouldn't have it. He was angry at me. He said, "What are you doing? You've been working on this for you already have people who know you. You're working with good company." Dad, I can't do it anymore. I didn't want to do it for the past 3 years. Now it's like the cast. I'm
Yeah.
gone. And I don't think we had a more intense argument about as an adult, not as a kid. I'm already as
Sure.
an adult. Yeah, it's my life. It's my company. It's my job.
Yeah.
But no, he was very immersed in this decision. And eventually I made the change I had to do, and he kind of had to accept it. But it's a different generation. And born in the 80s, for
Yeah.
me, okay, maybe I don't have to have a 30 or 50-year career at the same occupation at
Yeah.
the same company. And for my kids, being raised by somebody like me, it's not even a career, a
Yeah.
job. Like,
Right.
I don't see where this is going. Or maybe they'll just
Yeah.
spite me and take like a job for 50 years now. I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
generational thing.
Yeah, I
Uh,
totally
and
agree.
and it's that's why it's changing.
Yeah. First, I have to tell you that my father is just the same. For all the listeners and viewers, like we're both in Israel, so it's like maybe and no more than a tradition. It's like the way that the culture is working. But he was very like frustrated and worried what would be with me when I decided to go like work with myself. And I think that what we're saying about the kids, I have a very fun story that. The grandmother of my kids, the mother of my husband, she had a talk with one of my kids, and she told him, you're not good in math. What would be with you? What you'll do? And he's really creative, and he's like has these great ideas, and he's very artistic and everything. And she told him, like, where would you work? And he told her, I'm gonna own my own business. I don't want to work for anyone. I was so proud of him. And I think this is how people think today. And the younger generations are they know that they have these talents and they can utilize them in order to be happy and content and do what they're good at and what they love to do and earn money. So
Right.
they know they have these capabilities. And one more thing that we didn't mention is the fact that if you want to learn marketing, it's really easy today. You just need to find maybe the right YouTube channel or the right podcast or that person, and it's really easy to learn what's needed to be learned. And you have the way to reach more, like get experience and everything. In the past, it was so much harder to get, to start something new.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I know how to do that.
I always say that when I started the agency, I learned at the speed of failure. That was the learning environment. But you're right. Today, so much content and excellent content. And whether it's free, you have a ton of free content. You also have paid content, which is excellent, not very expensive, much less expensive than universities or private colleges.
Sure.
And you can really become very good at marketing. I would suggest the one thing. If you never been in anything related to marketing ever, then maybe go through at least one position in a company as a junior marketer, just to gain some sort of experience of how the system works with other people. It's kind of a tip, because we in Umbrella, we have people transitioning from every niche. Now, usually we ask them, salespeople ask them, do you have background in marketing? Do you have background in sales? Also, we ask them because they're independent now and they need to make sales. And, some people less, some people more. People who don't have a lot of marketing background, we started with simple programs, kind of verticalized programs, don't have to know everything about marketing. Let's focus on SEO and PPC for a while. But some people don't have any knowledge. Like, where do you come? I'm from the real estate industry. What have you done? I'm a real estate broker. What have you done in marketing? I promoted my own properties. That's great. That's not marketing. That's that's what you did. You just sent pictures on social of your properties. It's not. You don't even understand the concept of branding. So just get some knowledge online, and if you can, get some experience by working with somebody who's already doing it, even as an outsource. So you can see how a team works together, what is creative, what is planner. Even if at the end of the day you'll be creative, planning, copy, everything in one box, Just understand that there are different experts for different things that you can utilize. So yeah, that's like,
Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
it's
you could.
like I think that what you could get from working with other teams is more than the knowledge, which is very important. It's just to understand the domain as a whole, just to understand who is working with who, what is usually done, what's the best practices, the know-hows of what it is marketing, what is the meaning of that, and I think that once we have this experience with maybe good team and successful and knowledgeable team, you have a better start of what you're doing afterwards. But maybe we're very biased to people working self-employed. I guess that I think that most people in the world want to be an employee right now. Maybe it's changing to the younger generation and Gen Z and all that, but most people would say, okay, I'm going to work somewhere, it doesn't matter if in the office or not, but I'm not worried about the whole thing. Like, how do I get more work? I don't care if they don't get work, I do get work. It's enough. That's what I'm doing. And it's hard to, I think that most people are, it's easier for them to be this way. And I totally understand. It's not that I'm criticizing that. It's easier to do it, right? So we're not criticizing anyone on that.
Not at all. It's easier, and also I think we look at umbrella two types of of independents, of freelancers. You have a communicator. A communicator grows up to be a business owner. That's a person knows how to communicate value and communicate with clients. And then you have a worker, not in a bad or good way. You have a person that might be very good at what they do. They have a skill set. They're great designers. They're great website builders. Zero experience communicating, and not only zero experience because they're introverts, they're concerned about it, which makes their ability to converse with other people even more difficult, which it shouldn't, because introverts are the best consultants. They're an analytic type. You don't have to be a salesperson to be a marketing consultant. You just have to be good at understanding what's going on and coming up with a better plan. So you have those two types. And the workers find places like Upwork and Fiverr when somebody's doing the talking for them, which is the platform, right? The platform is getting them clients. They just need to fulfill and do a good job, and then more people would find them. And then the communicators are looking for firepower to go to market. Give me products. Give me something to sell. Give me, get me to market. They're more salespeople oriented. And they need productized solutions to take to market. So you have those two, and they're both excellent. Like they just do different things.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we're almost done. I have lots of more questions. Maybe we should do another episode. But I would ask you the question that I totally ask most people. What is your number one tip for leaders or marketing leaders today?
Wow. Niche down. Always niche down. That's my tip.
Yeah. Okay. So where could people hear more about you and Umbrella and contact you?
So Umbrella, you can go to umbrellaus.com. That's the main company website. You can also find my new book on Amazon. It's called Building the Ultimate Marketing Agency. It's available also on Kindle. And if you're looking for me, catch me on LinkedIn. It's Itamar Shafir. That's actually also the link. It's LinkedIn/Itamar Shafir. And you'll have me and you can connect with me.
Sure. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Itamar, and lots of fun. I really enjoyed it and I learned from it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Sure. And to all of you change makers out there, thank you for joining us. And if you want to learn more what I do, go to invincibleinnovation.com, and I'll see you next week with another innovative, insightful talk. See ya.
Bye.
I'm Mazor Kario, and you've been listening to the Invincible Innovation Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, invincibleinnovation.com, where you can learn more about our programs and my book, Innovating Through Chaos. I'll be waiting for you next week in our next episode. Thank you for listening.